People power growth, but recruiting and onboarding are expensive, exhausting, and absolutely overwhelming. I've been there, and it doesn't have to be this way. Welcome to Hire and Empower. I'm your host, Molly McGrath. Join me as we interview leaders who care about their teams and distill powerful lessons from them. This show is sponsored by H&E, helping organizations to find their best hire and empower them for success. Learn more at hiringandempowering.com. Okay, folks, I am so excited to have actually our sponsor. As many of y'all know, one of our biggest sponsors, LegalEase Marketing. They work with your firm to create a customized pipeline of emails, text messages, all the things many of you already know. They are rolling in the software and CRM space, in the legal space, working with Action Step, Clio, all that. So I'm excited to actually have the founder of LegalEase Marketing here with us, Jordan Ostroff. Many of you all know LegalEase was created by a law firm and marketing professionals for law professionals, and they exist to help build solutions that give you time. LegalEase puts you first. Everything they create is yours and yours alone, which is super unique, especially in the technology and marketing space. So Jordan, welcome. Thank you for being our guest today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me back.
Yes, it's been years, I feel like.
I don't know, COVID, right? So like, was it before? It was, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, it was. I think it was in the middle of COVID. And talk about COVID. Most people are like, oh, COVID, but you're just coming off of 400 days on the road.
Yeah, and the only time anyone in my family got COVID was my wife when we came back to Orlando this one time after, at that point, like 9 months on the road. So, it is what it is.
Oh my goodness. How's it feel to be back home?
We literally got in on Saturday. We're recording this on Monday. We unpacked most of our boxes, but like we sold all, we have new furniture coming in over the next week, new appliances. So like I'm sitting on a kitchen chair to eat at a coffee table. But we're gonna make the best of it. It's been nice.
Oh, well, welcome back. And I get to see you in the beginning of December as well. We're going to be co-speaking at third year in a row, the Law Firm Growth Summit.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's
Yeah.
I will by far the best digital event I've ever been to. And especially with how many events force themselves to go digital. I think Moshe did such a good job getting this. So there's the, 3-minute networking power, it automatically matches you up if you're in the room. There's breakout sessions to do like workshops that you can do virtually. It's definitely the best bang for your buck because you don't have to fly and get a hotel room like so many other conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're one of the biggest sponsors there this year as well, huh?
Well, thanks. Yeah, we'll be running the ads. So
Yes.
If you see the ads, we're at least somewhat effective. And if you click on the ads, that's where we're going to be more effective. So please click, join, come and learn a bunch, have a better firm, live a better life.
Which is, we're talking about today, how to get more of the right cases. So let's talk legal marketing.
Sure. Where do you want to start?
Well, you and I were talking a little bit about how to find, you're an attorney. All right. So let's just preface this. Jordan also is an attorney as well in, where you got Orlando?
Orlando. Nailed it.
Yes. And so you were saying before we hit recording, how often are you getting hammered by marketers marketing to attorneys?
Oh, all day. And the funniest, so look, I got to be honest. I think I'm usually a nice person. There comes a time where I'm over my line. Thank you. So I'll get people that I'm like, genuinely, I think that they don't know any better. Like I will get lawyer ads from New York, like New York family law to me. And they're like, because you're interested in law. I'm like, because I'm a lawyer. And I'll be like, hey, I shouldn't be seeing this ad as an Orlando PI lawyer or as a legal marketer. And we get into some good conversations, like giving people some free advice. But then you get those people that are just like so aggressive about it. And the funniest part is I'll usually start out like, hey, as a lawyer in Orlando, I shouldn't be getting your ad. And then they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And for the ones who are trying to sell to lawyers, I'm like, I actually have a marketing company for lawyers, so I'm definitely not your audience. And the funny part is, a good 2/3 of them are like, well, why don't you send me some work? Like, at least hit me up. I'll take some overflow stuff. I'm like, I guess your ads really aren't that effective if you're targeting me to then have me give you my work from my clients back. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but it weirdly keeps me in the loop of what's going on in legal marketing, because we can run it and I can see it from other people and we can see it for our clients.
And I love this conversation because you know how to speak the lingo, you know what to look for. But many law firms that I speak with, I do nothing with marketing. People call me about marketing. I know how to read the reports, ask powerful questions, especially if they're using Action Step, Clio, what have you, to look at the ROI on their marketing initiatives or what have you. But it's so amazing. I'll send them right to you. I'm like, call Greg, call Thane, call Jordan. I don't talk to me. This is not my bailiwick. However, I know that when I ask the questions in regard, where do the majority of your leads come from? What's the effectiveness? And they'll all just make a blanket statement like Google or what have you. But to your point, they don't know the effectiveness in the marketing agencies that they're using, or somebody, they're an intern or whoever they're using for their marketing, their targeting is off, or they don't even know if they're targeting. So talk to us a little bit about finding the ideal client, because to your point, I'm not in New York, I'm in Florida, what have you, and especially our PI firms that are listening, they spend a tremendous amount of money on paid advertising. And most of the time they don't even, they're too busy to even look at the analytics.
Sure. So, I mean, look, let me start here. I wish LegalEase didn't exist, because I created it because I went through so many bad marketing experiences. And I will be totally fair, I have since met some other really good marketing companies. So I'm not, sure, I don't want to bash. There's a ton of wonderful people. But then whenever I talk to them, I'm like, hey man, you screwed up by not getting in front of me when I was a struggling lawyer who had money to burn, but needed more cases. So it always makes for a funny thing. Look, to go to your direct point, so many lawyers want to be like, what? I want to be $1 million firm. I want more cases. I want to grow. And those are great, but they're so vague. They're so vague. They're not, you can't execute on that in the same way, because you don't actually want more cases. You want more of the right cases. You want less of the wrong cases. You don't want to, if you want to be $1 million firm, you want to be a profitable $1 million firm, because you have the right hiring in place to get that stuff together, to handle the work, to appease the clients, to turn them into referral sources, to get repeat business. So it's crazy to me that we so often skip knowing your ideal client. Like, really drill down on who's the person I want to work with, what's the legal need that they truly have, why am I the best fit for them? Like, that's the part that we need to start before we do any marketing.
I wonder how many people can actually answer that question. I love that you said that. I want to be $1 million firm. Or people will call me and say, how's Jordan, his firm doing? Whatever they're doing, I want to do more of it. Like, okay, time out. Talk to me about your intake team. Talk to me about who's meeting with these people, who's handling your discovery or strategy or initial consultation meetings or what have you. What is the capacity that you have to manage this? What's your average case value? What's the average life cycle of your lead? What's your budget? What do you want to spend? Because Jordan might be spending, $1 million a month just on Facebook, or just on this one initiative, or just Google AdWords or what have you. Are you ready to pay to play like in that arena, right?
I have a cousin of mine who is not a lawyer. He's the most well-meaning, supportive. He jokes that I'm his third child. And he's always like, when are you going to start doing billboards? I see all the giant firms all have billboards. And it's funny because there are so many lawyers that think exactly the same way. I used to be one of them. I've never had a billboard. They were too expensive for me when I didn't know better. But you see the big firms have a billboard and you think, I need billboards to be a big firm. What you don't realize is exactly what Molly said. They've got a 40-person intake team that can call all those people back ASAP. They've got a huge, follow-up campaigns that they've built out on all these tech systems. They've got a ton of ads running on everything else. They've got a ton of word of mouth. And now they put the billboards on top. Like now that becomes the easiest way to get a massive amount of exposure because they have the foundation in place. So like I'm in Orlando, we've got Morgan & Morgan's main office, 1,000 feet from me. They've got, I don't know, 800 lawyers across the country, maybe more, maybe slightly less, whatever. They're the largest one. And they have a ton of billboards. And then you'll see like every year there'll be a new firm that puts up, 10 billboards around town for 12 months. And then you never hear from them again because they hit that one big case. They thought that would be the, what would lead to all the other cases. They didn't have the right foundation in place. And so that's why I'm always like, hammer that ideal client over and over and over again. And then you can figure out what marketing makes sense to the ideal client, what makes sense for you to get in front of them. And then you look at what can I afford to do? Where do I have to trade, bang for buck, quality over quantity, those type of things. That's where you're going to find success. Like that's where it's all going to come down to your specific firm, your specific client, your specific marketing.
And what are some questions that you ask to really discern your ideal client?
So that's a great one. And here, okay, so look, there's a million experts out there, right? Like Gary Vee talks about the 19-year-old life coaches for everybody having been through, who knows what. But I'm always interested in the things that all the experts agree upon, right? So like, I've never heard anybody tell you to have a full caseload and also try to run your business. They always talk about, splitting those things up. I've always had, people talking about the more that you grow your own knowledge, the better it's going to be because you can pass it on to employees, you can make better decisions, whatever. This is one that I am thankful we're all in the same boat. I have never heard anybody say, don't know your ideal client or anybody I've talked to, the more they can answer that question, the more certain I am that they are or are about to be successful. When you can get it dialed in to, I'm looking for, so like, let me do this. Let me do this from my firm's perspective.
Please.
So we are a PI firm in Orlando. I work 2 days a week. I run one meeting for my firm. We have to dial this in. Otherwise, I would go nuts. We want blue collar professionals or parents who care about something else that isn't money first. So they care about their kids who are in the car with them who are injured. They care about making it to work. They care about getting a new vehicle to be able to keep, food on the table. And so like, that's our client. And we've got a couple slightly specific avatars. One's a teacher, one's a realtor, one's the PTA president. But like at the end of the day, they have those things in common and they're in Central Florida. And so from that, they're normally in the, 28 to 42 range along those lines. But now I can go deeper with that, right? Because that person, when are they in the car? Well, they're in the car on the way to drop off and the way from pickup for school. So if we're talking about running radio ads, I don't actually care about the normal rush hour. If, elementary school gets out at 2 o'clock for us, that's a better window for me. And it's actually a lot cheaper than 4 o'clock, a 5 o'clock, a 6 o'clock slot. But my ideal client's in the car. And so if you find the, nice, easy listening top 40s, whatever the kids like station, that's probably the one that's in the car, at least on the way back from school. So now we've got, what station we want. We've got when we want. We know that our person's in the car. They're listening to the radio. They're picking the kids up from school. Like that's an easy way, to say no to a ton of things. Even if we're going to radio ads, I can say no to ads that aren't during pickup times. Not our thing, like that's not what we need. If we're talking about billboards, we don't have any billboards. I don't know that I will ever have billboards, but if I did, I want to.
Although you would look fantastic in your shirts, your Hawaiian shirts on a billboard, that would stick out versus a stuffy attorney in a 3-piece, $10,000 suit.
Thank you. Yes, that would be funny to have like a 40-foot Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
No, but look, so then I'd put it closer to the schools, and in Florida, in Orlando, like 92% of them are Title I schools, so meaning a certain percentage of kids are on free or reduced lunch, which tend to be the demographics of a better PI client. But I look for, where's the closest billboard spot with the most intersection of schools? Where can I get the most teachers driving through? What billboards are around, the teachers union? Which ones are around the school board, the district, the main office, those kind of things? And realistically, those might be cheaper because again, I'm not looking for the giant one on, I-95 or I-4, the big interstate that's, around Orlando or around Florida. I'm looking for some of the smaller ones, but they're hyper targeted to my client. They make it stand out. So when I write what's on the billboard, I think about that specific person. When we run the ad campaigns, I think about what makes sense to that person, the language, the issue that we're addressing, the emotion behind it, as well as the location. And it can be really specific. Like, we can get this dialed in so much better. That's got to be the first step, though, for anybody listening. Listen, don't hire me. Don't listen to anything else I said. Know your ideal client. The stronger that picture is, the more, I call it an ideal client avatar. The more you can picture that avatar in your head, the easier so many questions will be.
Well, I'm even sitting here thinking what I love about it, even the 28 to 42 drop off pickup, like just even knowing that by and large, teacher, blue collar, what have you. Now the radio ads, I'm even thinking, okay, the Facebook ads or this LinkedIn, whether they're ads or even when you're putting your static content, you know, I see you all the time on social media and I love it in your Hawaiian shirts, you know, what you put out there. But I'm thinking pick up and drop off, because if anyone has any kids, that pick up and drop off line is no joke. You are sitting in there for 30 minutes, what have you. What are moms doing? The kids are typically in the back on a coloring book or an app, an iPad or whatever they have that's age appropriate. Mom, I know that's when I caught up on my social media. I'd be scrolling on social media during that window of drop off, pick off. What do we do typically? Anybody in that age group, 28, 42, what have you, by and large, go grab a coffee or meet someone for a coffee afterwards, or on your way to the gym or the yoga studio. I'm just even thinking my kids now, I'm out of this demographic, not by much.
No,
but,
you're not.
But when my kids are now 21 and 17. So, but I remember that's when I would be doing my social media. So you're running your ads at that time as well, or putting your content out there, even if it's not an ad, or sending out your blogs and things of that nature, right?
And yes, and I'll tell you, like, okay, so I have nothing to do with my wife's social media. She will not let the LegalEase team touch it yet. I've tried to break her down to this, but like literally today, like whatever it was, 3 hours ago, we got into a car accident while we were on the road. It was very small. It was in the parking lot. Somebody backed up into us. We weren't even in the car. My kid thinks it's cool. There's a little yellow mark that we'll get painted now that we're back. But like when my wife posted about it, she writes about running chores, running errands. The most common parking lot accidents take place by the Amazon or UPS drop off, or the post office, or groceries, anything. You're rushing to get the stuff in the car. You're rushing to get home. So that type of person, they're going to be running, they're more likely to be running chores and errands. They've got stuff going on. They're going to be in the parking lot. So now we're gearing towards, them from the social media content standpoint. And the tone becomes, take these tips and don't need to call us. This is not, if you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, call it. No, this is like, listen to your backup camera. Make sure the kids are not waving their arms and blocking your view as you're backing up the car. Take a beat, take a breath, take a second, understand the other person may not be looking also. You're backing up looking, they're not looking, and you get hit. So framing it around that, we think stands out to the person we want to work with, the type of client. We think that we're then, targeting the geographic area, hashtagging it the right way, posting the stuff that way, as opposed to just anybody who's in a car who's been injured, or the negligence of another, even less than a car. It's just not specific. I want that person. I want marketing to be a magnet, right? People will see me in the Hawaiian shirt and think that guy doesn't take this seriously. I don't want to work with him. And I am so fine with that.
Yes.
Because I will do 1,000 other things that will piss you off. If you want somebody who is super hyper aggressive and always wearing a dress shirt and always like, that's not me. I'd rather you see one video of me in a Hawaiian shirt and be like, that's not my jam, and find a million other options that you have that all look the same. Because the people who see it and are like, oh, that guy looks approachable. He looks cool. That looks like somebody that gets, the vibe I'm going for. We're going to love each other so much more. We're going to like working with each other so much more. We're going to look forward to the meetings. We're going to look forward to, the follow-up. We're going to look forward to chatting with each other for the next 10, 20, 30 years on the marketing side. On the client side, the next, 6, 9, 12 months. I want you to have some enjoyment out of all of this. Like, most people hire lawyers in their worst moment of life. The more that you can find the people that are looking forward to interacting with you and your firm in some manner, the more you're making it better for them as they go through what is often the worst moment of their life.
And you just said something. So we talked about the avatar. We talked about the persona. We talked about the buying behaviors when they're consuming content, et cetera. But something you said that is really critical. Somebody who thinks and acts like you, that you would connect with, that you would sit down and have a coffee with or a beer. The clients that you rate, I know many organizations rate them on a scale of A, B, C, D through F. If they're clients, to your point, they're going to expect you, and you're not professional enough. You're wearing whatever their stories are in their head. They're not your ideal client, even outside of. So when you are wearing that Hawaiian shirt and you're posting your tips on social media and you see the engagement in there, those are the types of people that are your ideal client. It's not just based on, household income or zip code, which typically what I'm hearing you saying is you're targeting of the ideal client. Engaging with the ideal client is very unique and different than most quote unquote marketing agencies will traditionally. I've received the intake forms, I'm sure you have, where they're asking all the questions. You're like, yeah, these are not helpful. Some of them are helpful, but by and large, I've answered these questions with the past 10 marketing agencies that I've worked with, not from a place of shame, blame, and comparison, but I really like the way that you're thinking about this and the way that you're demonstrating that in regards to also taking into consideration, you and your team know, and I love it, you spend time with your team because they're probably giving you that feedback. Who were our best clients that called in yesterday, or PNCs, prospective new clients? Who were our favorite clients that we work with? We want to target people like them.
I mean, to be totally honest, I genuinely enjoy my team. To be totally honest, I hang out with them. The second most reason is for me to learn how to do all this stuff. It is amazing to me when they're like, hey, did you notice that we could run this reverse negative keyword here for this? And then they just shared with me Google Meet just added, it'll do real-time transcriptions and you can record them with the recording. So yeah, exactly. And so every time I spend time with my team, I'm like, I learned a ton. No, to go back to your prior point though, look, I think everybody has talked about demographics. I hope that you're knowing geographics. You can only practice law in a certain state. You may only want to take cases in certain counties. What I'm talking about are the psychographics, right? The why somebody does something. How do you convince somebody to click that button, to call you, to show up to the consult, to hire you? Because you get them. And if you don't get them, you get their problem. And the beauty of social media, and this is the part that I go back and forth with people on all the time. It really doesn't matter what you pick for social media because you can get that reasoning out at scale to attract the people that agree with that reason. When I'm talking about with the money thing, I get so many PI attorneys that are like, no, I want doesn't every client just want money? No, most of them do. Most people in an accident think they're going to get a windfall, think it's going to be their money. I don't like working with those people. I don't think they like working with us. So yes, maybe I'm cutting myself out of 2/3 of the market, but I'm giving the reasoning that truly impacts that 1/3, and they can find us and they can hire us, or I should say, and they can talk to us. And then when they do, they realize that that's our thing. We build that rapport in 2 ways. So don't, find what is authentic to you. Yeah. And as long as there's some segment of your legal market that intersects with, get all those cases, get 80% of them, find the market share in that niche from a why, from a reason, from a psychographic standpoint.
So for your clients, Jordan, let's go back to using your firm as a case study. It's not the ones that it's all about the money. Who are your ideal clients? What are they looking for? What do they want if it's not all just about the money?
Yeah. So look, it's that blue collar professional or it's that parent. So listen, if we walked into a networking event where you knew there were going to be a ton of lawyers, and let me guess, 90% of them are wearing probably a polo with the firm logo at lowest, going up to, a dress shirt. And I'm hanging out in a Hawaiian shirt, having fun. If you're a realtor, if you're the PTA president of your school, if you're a teacher, if you're a cop, and you need to talk to somebody else in the room, and you have this chance of all the guys in golf shirts with their logo, of all the ladies in, super nice dresses, very well done up with and then all the other guys in their dress shirt, and then you've got Hawaiian shirt guy. Now, Not everybody's going to want to go up to a Hawaiian shirt guy, but the ones who do are my kind of clients. And so like that, like I'm giving up some of the, like, I'm a fancy lawyer, I know what I'm talking about, for the approachability, because I want my client to feel comfortable approaching me, as opposed to the standoffish of like, hey, I went to school for 3 more years than you did and went way in student loan debt. So like you sit on that side of the table and I'll sit over here.
For LegalEase Marketing, talk to us about who your ideal law firm is that you'd like to work with.
This is a great question. So I'm gonna not answer your question for a second, but then I will get to it.
Okay.
To be fair, from a law firm standpoint, I would be a terrible PI client. I would be the worst. I do not want to go to the doctor ever. Like the Dennis Leary has a skit about his dad cutting his finger off and just duct taping it back on. Like that would be me. I would be that interested in not going to the doctor that I would like staple my own finger back on. So I'm not our ideal client. So I have to think like them. I have to create this persona, or we interview our clients. We do client appreciation events. We talk to them and scale and all that. For LegalEase, I am exactly my ideal client. I want a growth-minded law firm owner who's making, you know, at least $750 a year, who wants to stand out and like, hello, I want to stand out. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I don't want to be the normal, like, we're aggressive and this is our stack of law books behind us and blah, 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 blah. So I get to just say like, what do I like more, and pick it. And I think that's been the most helpful, successful thing for LegalEase, is me just being like, does Jordan like this? And if so, the people that are like Jordan will also like it, to hire us.
So people on a growth mindset, and also willing to, what I'm hearing from you, authentically, unapologetically be you, because that's what connects and resonates with your ideal buyer, your ideal client, in regards to your targeting. So to your point, somebody who wants to be visible and be out there. So they're willing to, maybe your recommendation's not going to be hire an all-day studio with all the fancy lighting and the green screens, and make sure you do this perfectly scripted video or what have you, but showing up exactly like your background. And let's just start getting out there and showing your personality.
The only change I would make to that is the firm needs to stand out. Like, look, if you want to launch a mascot for your firm and your state bar allow it, and because you don't want to be the face of any of this, like that's something we could jump in as well. But I want something that's different. Like we've got there's a firm that does like consumer protection stuff. We put together this whole like comic book for them. So they've got like, I'm gonna get the names wrong, but it's like Dr. Bankruptcy, the Debt Collector, like all those things, and created these really stylized look for them.
Fun.
The firm owner wants nothing to do with his face being on it, but now you've got this, from a 18 to 24-year-old, slightly mostly male perspective, in terms of being in debt from getting a bunch of credit cards in college when you were 18 and blowing through them and not having, your parents to cover for you now, like that kind of stuff. It fits, and it's different. And if you saw that, you'd be like, oh, I've never, I wouldn't expect this from a law firm. I've never seen that before, as opposed to just everything that's like, we're aggressive, we put our clients first, yada, 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 which, look, I hope those things are true for everybody who says them, but they're not. Nobody says the opposite, right? Like nobody's getting up there saying like, I'm an okay lawyer or I'm super meek. So our things, like we want to find those that are truly magnetic, that truly drive some people away, but it drives the right people away. And it really attracts the ones that you want to work with.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to see that campaign. That sounds amazing. But yeah, hopefully I won't see it because I'm not your target audience.
Well, that's true. Correct. So you don't even know what we have going out there, Molly, because we make sure that you don't see it.
Yeah, no, but like exactly.
It should be like, look, running a well-run business should be fun. A huge component of that is marketing, and marketing should be fun. It shouldn't be this thing that you dread every time it comes up on your calendar, because then what happens? You become the bottleneck, right? You don't write the blog post. You don't film the video, you don't approve it from your company, and everything gets stuck. So the more that it becomes those things that you can really get behind and truly care about, and the more that we can show you the results, that it's, putting a ton of money in your pocket, it should be fun. It should be enjoyable.
and something that can be scalable and not dependent on you as the attorney, to your point. So if you have a growth mindset and you're willing to play with it and have a little fun and get creative, cut through all the, stuffy suit, and that might be you, but as long as you can allow Jordan and his team to put a very creative spin on it. So tell us what you do at LegalEase Marketing.
What do I do, or what does the company do?
No, not you.
Okay, good.
The company.
What do I do? I screw around on the internet, which is advice I don't give to anybody else. No, look, we create actual marketing plans. Like a real business will have this thing called a marketing plan. That is, what are we actually going to do over the next, 12 months? And then we're going to cut it back into quarters and into months from there. And that's looking for the intersection of like, what is your firm capable of doing? So what's your talent? What's your firm's talent? What's your budget? What can we hire? Who's your ideal client? And then where do those things intersect? Like if you look at the Venn diagram, where's that middle part of the Venn diagram? That's where we want to be. If your ideal clients are, on LinkedIn every day because you're a business lawyer, then great. You need to be there too, or we need to pay for you to be there in some manner. If your clients, criminal law, nobody has I shouldn't say nobody. No normal people don't have a criminal law attorney on retainer, but when the moment strikes, when somebody's been arrested, when there's a situation that comes up, you're going to find a way to find that person. You're going to Google them. You're going to ask for referrals. You're going to go to the bondsman that's right across the street. So putting you in those same spots, putting your firm in those same spots, either where the clients are or where they're going to be when they need you. Like that's what all this boils down to. And then we just talked about budget. You can always spend more money on ads. You can always write more blog posts. You can always shoot more videos. So what do you have the time for? What do you have the energy for? What do you have the bandwidth for? What do you have the budget for? And how many cases can your firm truly handle? Because sometimes I'm going to tell you to do less marketing because you need to hire people first so that you can handle the cases the right way. If you're getting 10, 20, 30% of your cases off of client referrals, you don't want 40 new cases from me next month unless you just hired everybody, like unless you have a whole thing, because you're going to tank the stuff that's gotten you where you currently are. So having this plan allows us to say, all right, for 3 months, we do this. And as you're onboard this new person, now we can double that because now you've got more bandwidth. You can bring on this person, et cetera, all while keeping you profitable and having a firm you can be proud of and having more of the right cases and hopefully having fun.
I love that you start with really creating a comprehensive marketing plan. So often when people call me to hire a marketing coordinator, intake coordinator, salesperson, whatever it might be, and I'm like, all right, talk to me about what's going on. What volume of leads are they coming from? Talk to me about your marketing plan. I'll get deer in the headlight. Look. Well, we do a little bit of this. No. Can you send me the plan? Just send me the plan and send me your reporting from Action Step, Clio, Lawmatics, wherever it might be. And they're really jammed up there. They don't even know. So and to your point, it might be, I'm going to tell you to do no marketing. We're going to craft the plan. It's going to be writing. It's going to be clear, concise, well communicated. We're going to anchor to a quarterly, monthly, but sometimes it might be, even to your point, you're not going to be able to handle if we put a billboard or Facebook ad or what have you. How about we just nurture the people that are sitting in your database that haven't heard from you in forever?
Yep. I mean, look, there's so many law firms that are like 99% referral based, right?
Yes.
Who could give you the best referrals? It's not a fellow lawyer. It's a client. They've gone through the process. They understand what the issues were. They really know how you addressed it. They are able to give the best referrals. Will they or won't they? A very different conversation, but they are positioned in such a great manner. So whether it's, whether before we start running ads, it's getting that newsletter to clients, whether it's, walking you through having some client appreciation events, whether it's just making sure you have some sort of sales process in place consistently, right? Like we all know the months where nobody hires. So you call everybody and now you have a huge caseload and now you get busy and you don't call people back and now and you're just like, woo. So even getting that stuff in, because if you don't have a consistent system on how the cases are handled with the right staff to execute them and how you're selling, you really have no idea what the marketing is doing, because it's up to you to follow up. or it's up to whoever takes the call. If you've got the one really well-trained paralegal who takes, client calls and closes 80% of them, and then you got the brand newbie that nobody has time to train who only gets, 10% of the calls, you're throwing money down the window because you don't know who's answering the phone or what they're saying, or if there's follow-up email, or God forbid, it's November of 2022. Please have contracts that can be e-signed. Please have clients have to e-pay. Please don't make them have to drive to your office or mail something back or
Oh my gosh.
certified letter or whatever. But if you don't have that stuff in place, you don't know if they hated you, or if you didn't have a good system, or if nobody ever called them back, or if they never got the contract, or whatever it's going to be. So a lot of firms don't actually have marketing problems; they have sales problems. And so if you have fulfillment down and then you work on sales, now everything we do in marketing can be supported by the stuff that's already in place over and over and over again.
Wow. Jordan, tell our listeners how they can learn more. What's the first step with your process?
Sure. So if you're on the fence because you're like, this Hawaiian shirt wearing dude may not be my jam, if you go to LinkedIn, there's 2 Jordan Ostroffs in the world, 2 Jordan Ostroffs. There's, I guess, a YN. The other guy is a salesperson in Boston, and I get a ton of job offers for him. So if you're his boss and you're listening to this, he's in demand. Like, give that man a raise. The other one's me. So I'm up there. I post at least once a day on LinkedIn. You'll get a feel for storytelling and my vibe and whatever. If that's good, you'll have a bunch of links to go to that. Or if you need marketing help, if I have sold you on the 30-40 minute chat that we've had here, then LegalEaseMarketing.com, EASE marketing. It is entirely a dad joke. We are well aware of that. But we thought it was funny, and it turned out to be very true because we're translating lawyer speak into marketing speak and marketing speak into lawyer speak, and then both those into normal human language, or at least whatever jargon your ideal client is going to use.
Oh, I'm going to put all the links in the show notes, gangs. I'll put Jordan Ostroff ESQ from LinkedIn there in the show notes, as well as your law firm or your LegalEaseMarketing.com. I know I've made that mistake of just putting in legalese before.
Which is not us. And I say that as a compliment because it's like a 1980s website. If you are legalese.com, 1, I want to buy your domain. But 2, if not, I want to fix your website. So also call me if you see this.
Yeah. Oh, Jordan, as always, thank you for being our guest. Thank you for being our sponsor. And I'm also going to put in the show notes, Jordan and his team, we are doing a phenomenal webinar. I'll put the date because I'll butcher it here in, I think, about 2 weeks now. I'll put the link on how to join, and we're going to be talking about, Jordan said, 99.9 of law firms by and large get their business from referral base. And so Thane and Greg from LegalEase Marketing and myself are doing a 1-hour webinar on how to continue to build a referral based marketing client base. All right, Jordan, as always, thank you and welcome home.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here, and it's good to be here with you.
Oh, yes. And I'll see you at the Law Firm Growth Summit as well at first week of December.
Absolutely.
All right, listeners, until next time, continue to be a legal leader, leading legal leaders. We've reached the end of another impactful conversation on the Hire and Empower podcast. Whether this was your first episode or you're a longtime listener, I know you can tell I have passion for people. Whether you're a business owner, employee, executive, or hiring manager, I understand the situation you're in. Hiring, onboarding, and leadership is expensive, exhausting, overwhelming, and if that's not enough, it's also time-consuming. My friends, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a team at H&E that has your back. For over 25 years, they've transformed over 4,000 law firms into efficient, effective, profitable assets for their business and made it fun to come to work again. Check out our Smart Hire solution, our employee leadership program, and the 66-day law firm turnaround at hiringandempowering.com.